And what we're doing when we're able to feed a child according to their determination is that we're giving them the strength and the courage to step into their own inner authority from the beginning, so they don't have to lose it and get caught up in all the nonsense of this world, so that they can grow up strong from the very beginning. Hello there, and welcome to Dharma Science Radio. My name is Ian, and today we're here for the benefit of the children. Something that is so profound and so important is that we're able to give the nurturing, we're able to give the honoring and the correct conditioning to the children of the world today, so that they can rise up into their unique potential to be stable with a difference that no one else on the planet has access to. And so what the heck am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the human design system, and I'm talking about the primary health system within human design. This is also called PHS. This primary health system is called the first conditioning agent by Ra-Uru-Hu, the founding manifester of human design. For you see, it's one of the very first opportunities before we can even think about things and be told that we're doing wrong and realize, oh, hey, that's bad, don't do that. We're already eating. From day 1, day 2, day 3, we have to be eating food at the very beginning. And depending upon the circumstances in which this child, this infant is eating, that food is either feeding the unique potential for difference of the child, or the food is feeding the potential for dis-ease and disorder and ordinary living and stress and frustration and bitterness and all kinds of stuff that none of us really want. Instead of all that, we'll be going towards what is our preferences here today in this video. And so let's dive right on into this picture here. Boom. So this is a beautiful picture that was shared with me fairly recently, and it showcases a lot about this design, sun and earth, which is where the inner potential for PHS comes from, and that's our primary focus today. And so here we are with the design, sun and earth on this page about determination. That's this entire picture is what this is about, the variable determination. And so you'll see here at the top that we have conditions and circumstances as a fundamental binary that we begin with. This is all about the nature of the color for the design, sun and earth, the inner determination variable. And so conditions have a lot to do with the fundamental nature of the food itself, the conditions of what is going in, whether that be food, whether that be information, whether that be energy from the environment. There are specific conditions we want that energy and that food to meet in order to feed the life of the child. And in circumstances, it's specifically about the actual environment in which the child eats. It doesn't matter so much what specific items are being eaten. I know that nutritional dietary guidelines have their way about things, and I will not tell you to go against them. However, in a general sense, when we're talking about the circumstances as a determination, then it's more about the environment in which they're eating. And there's some specific differences in here that we'll dive into. Beginning with the color 1, which is an example of rigid within the conditional determination. This color 1 is the color of appetite. This color of appetite is either alternating or it's consecutive, and it comes with the nature of the hunter. Now, if we are working with tones 1, 2, and 3, we will see consecutive eaters, and tones 4, 5, and 6, we will see alternating eaters. And so fundamentally, this appetite for children with the first color, the appetite determination, we want one ingredient at a time to be eaten. And now with the consecutive appetite, we're talking eating all of the peas, and then moving on to the carrots, and then eating all of the carrots, and then moving on to whatever's after that. When we're talking about alternating appetite, at that point, maybe some of the peas, and then some of the carrots, and then some of the third thing, and then some of the peas, and then some of the carrots, and some of the third thing, in a pattern rotating around that allows their alternation to occur. To alternate either around in a circle between multiple things, or go back and forth between two things, which is different from consecutive appetite. These hunters of consecutive appetite, they really want to eat that one thing at a time until they're done with it, and then they move on to the next. And the magic is that they actually have the capacity to taste more deeply within single ingredient items. If you have the hunter determination, so if you have an appetite color determination, whether it's consecutive or alternating, you'll find that you can actually taste deeper and deeper nuances of flavor within single ingredients than most other people can. And that can be very interesting to pay attention to. Next up, we have the taste, the second color, and we're still within the primitive, rigid binary over here, which comes from the splenic awareness center. These are very primitive. They are very rigid because these are our old ancestors. We began with the appetite, this one thing at a time. Oh, hey, there's berries. Let me eat some berries. And then we moved into taste. And this is all about the gatherer. This is about being open or closed to gathering specific things and finding a way to eat the same thing every day. You know, this open and closed taste is really about, this taste is what nourishes me right now. I like this taste. This is great. It's said often to work with either seasonal diets and or your Ayurvedic dietary styles as well, if you find yourself with this gatherer taste determination. And so for children, we need to be able to trust the fact that these children have a taste for things or not. And if they don't like the taste, they're not going to eat it. And if you try to force them to eat it when they don't like the taste, then you're actually feeding them sickness. So my request is, please do not do that. Please find food that your taste determination child will enjoy the taste of, so that they can grow up to be big and strong, you know? And now this open or closed, this is such a big deal, because open means that they need to actually taste the food. They need to actually get the food into their mouth, taste it, try it on, see how it feels, and then spit it out if they don't like it, or keep going with it. Whereas the closed taste determination, these children are different. These children don't even need to try it. So if you try to force them to try something they don't want, you're going against their truth, and please do not. Because they have a natural auric sensitivity to the environment around them, and simply the fact that it's around them, their body knows, oh, that's bad for me. Or yeah, okay, well, I'll try that. And so as they age over time, eventually they can learn to be more open to things that they're not open to at first. However, when we're dealing with children, especially in the very early youth, I believe the most important thing we can do is learn to honor their own inner authority as a child, to honor their own body's needs. And we can begin that by honoring the determination. That is one very key factor that we can honor, independent of aura type. And so our next exploration here is the transformer nature of the thirst color. Now this is the last of the conditions. This is the last of when we're talking about specific food items and what is the qualities of these foods. This is color 3 of thirst, with the nature of being the transformer. This is all about the hot and the cold. Now this is where I actually personally have my experience with PHS, and that's why talking about this is so deeply important to me, because I have a hot thirst transformer nature. My body needs food to be hot, and it wants liquids to be hot. As soon as I cut out cold water, I started drinking hot water exclusively, My productivity in work jumped 30% for a month before I started to slow down again. And I ate some cold food and things shifted a little bit. And so for children to begin this with correctness, I think it's so incredibly profound, because this transformer nature, if it's on the hot side of the spectrum, that means it needs to be above body temperature. You know, nice and actually hotter than what it is on the inside, because the digestive fire, also called the Agni from Ayurveda, this Agni is actually weaker, so the digestive fire doesn't burn quite so bright. And so when you bring hot foods, well-cooked, hydrated, liquid foods into the system, you know, like some hot mashed potatoes, oh yeah. That goes right into the body. It works with the weaker fire and everything is absorbed and it feels so good and it's nourishing. Whereas on the other end, for myself, as a hot thirst, when I eat cold food, I can feel it almost immediately that my sensitivities to vibration and intuition, everything shrinks down into this flat line of, minor depression, a little sad. It's not so good. And that's my oppression if I have a sip of soda. I remember this in California. We had some homemade root beer and I had this little sip of it and immediately my vibration dropped into, oh, okay, this is life. This is what's happening. And that was from eating outside of my determination. And so on the other end of this hot, cold, thirst spectrum, it's always hydration. It's always lots of liquids. And for the cold, there's a very powerful digestive fire. The Agni is hot and the fire on the inside burns. And so whatever they eat, the ideal is that it's cold. The temperature is below that of the body itself. So whether that means taking hot foods and then putting them in the fridge for a while, letting them cool down, and then eating it, that's great. That's totally okay. The difference is it hydrated or is it dehydrating? Is it hot or is it cold? And when we take these questions into consideration, and with your own children, if you're paying attention to how they're behaving, I want to say that I'll guarantee you see a difference within 2 weeks if you're honoring the child's determination, and if they are naturally honoring their determination, if they can get along with it. And if you start them off from the very beginning, then all the power in the world to the young one. And so now we're moving on to the fourth color of touch. This is within the realm of circumstances. This is the determination, isn't that funny? And this is all about calm or nervous touch. This is all about the touch. Is it calm? Is the environment calm? Is this like in a meditative space where the TV's off? We're not in conversation. Things are calm. Things are quiet. And we're simply eating our food. There's not crazy traffic outside. Maybe there's a little breeze and a wind chime. For these fourth colors, calm touch. They really need it calm. Otherwise they might break out in hives or have stomach digestive issues wherein they can't really absorb the nutrients in the food so well. And so find that calm environment as best as you can when working with these children, is my request from you. Now for the nervous touch, this is a little easier to find. These are children who might watch TV and have a conversation. You can eat in a busy restaurant. That's okay. TV at the dinner table for the nervous? Well, either you got to be engaged in some good stimulating conversation where you can see the nervousness of the nervous system activated. People are thinking, people are feeling and active. If that's happening at the table for these children, that's great. If not, they're probably going to want the television on. Something going on. And our next step is the nature of the listener, which is the color 5 of sound. This moves us out of the energetic and the manipulative and into the sensitive selective. Because these determiner and transformers in the energetic realm, they have powerful transformer bodies. Lots of things can change. Whereas these sensitive selectives, this is all about the solar plexus awareness center. You see this green over here in the rigid? This is about the spleen, and this is where awareness comes from. Over here in the energetic manipulative, this is the Ajna chakra, and this is where we start to think about things and have concepts. Over here in the sensitive selective, this is when the feelings of aura and the touch of life, the breath of the spirit and the soul really steps into a whole new order. And so here in the 5th color of sound, we're dealing with the listener of either high or low sound. So this is very similar to the calm and the nervous determiner of touch. However, we know the difference between touch and sound, don't we? So there's definitely a difference here. For the listener, they don't need to necessarily have the TV on, or they don't necessarily need to be walking around while they're eating, like for the nervous, being able to walk up around, not sitting perfectly still. For the nervous to walk around, that's great when they're eating. For the high sound listener, they don't need to be walking around so long as they've got the right sound going on. They got the auditory thing they like to listen to, whether that's the TV blaring or whether it's their music, whether it's conversation with the family, whatever's going on that gives an active sound. It could even be Beethoven's 5th playing in the background. Maybe they love it. And on the other end of this listener of sound, we have low sound. And this is very similar to the calm determiner in that we need to actually find quiet. There could be movement. Things can be happening. And yet, if that fire alarm is going to go off 5 times during lunch, that could easily give this person a stomach upset, you know? That could easily give this person a stomach ache. And next, we're at the most sensitive, the most selective of all, the 6th color of light and the nature of the watcher of either direct or indirect light. Now, for the direct light children, the nature of the watcher, this is about eating under the direct sunlight, having the sun on their skin when they eat during the daytime, or at least under one of those sunlight lamps. You'll find that if you have a child with a direct light determination, that if you get them a sun lamp, they might really, really appreciate that, especially if you live somewhere where it snows a lot and you have long winters and there's not so much sun. A sun lamp that actually has the correct wavelength of light to reflect the sunlight and not simply like LEDs or fluorescent bulbs, those sun lamps can be life-changing for these children. And that's for eating, that's for information processing, that's for doing everything really, that's for living. And now over here in the indirect watchers of light, we have something that Ra originally called the nocturnals. And so that points a bit of a picture as to how this might be a bit challenging to work with. It's not so easy to have a baby eat only during nighttime. However, you'll find that if you're with a baby and they're up at night and they have indirect light determination, they might be a lot more interested in eating when the sun is down. And so I know the timing of life, it can be very challenging to have food at night and to be alive at night as nocturnals. And for children, I mean, they've got life responsibilities like us. They've got things to do in a way. Maybe they got to go to school. Maybe they don't. If you can lean into allowing the child to be awake at night and to live at night, then I think that's amazing. And on the more easier, adaptable styles, if this child can eat their food at the very least in a dark room where there is no direct sunlight on them. Because if they need to eat out in the direct sun, like in the middle of a bright, hot summer day, that could easily give them indigestion and stomach problems. So the suggestion is to simply work with the best that you can in your given circumstance. because nothing about this is about the absolute perfection of achieving this or that. The key here is that we're working with the concentrated, the periodic, and the cyclical nature of our children. That we're working with life and we are giving life the fuel to really become its unique potential. And so down here you'll see that there is the tone. So far we've mostly spoken about the color, and the tone is what fixes the left and the right. And so if they have that tone 1 underneath that color 1, then there's a smell that influences their appetite. If it's tone 2, it's a taste that influences their appetite. If it's tone 3, it's their outer vision. Tone 4, it's their inner vision. Tone 5, it's their feeling. Tone 6, it's their touch. And so there are so many layers here that we can go into, and that's why it's so important and valuable to have private consultations with people who know what they're talking about. Now, on a general level, the most recommended people would be those certified by the IHDS or those working with Jovian Archive. Now, I happen to be fully trained on my own. You know, I study this stuff on my own time, and I have been for over a half decade now. I've been in my experiment for like 7 years, and I've listened to probably over 500 hours of Ra'uruhu, and I've been practicing this stuff for a long time. So I feel like I personally have a pretty good grip on this because I actually live it, and I don't know how to live any other way. Once I started trusting my inner authority, that's it. Like, I don't know how else to live. I don't know how I made decisions before because I know this mind is not reliable. What I know is my inner authority is reliable. And what we're doing when we're able to feed a child according to their determination is that we're giving them the strength and the courage to step into their own inner authority from the beginning, so they don't have to lose it and get caught up in all the nonsense of this world, so that they can grow up strong from the very beginning. And so that's basically my hope for each and every one of you watching this, whether you have a child, whether you are a child, or whether you know somebody who has a child that has this potential to take care of themselves. And even for adults, because this is not simply for children, it's for the parents of the children, so that we can step forward in a good way on a societal level. And then on a personal level, one-on-one, it's about feeding yourself correctly, knowing what's good for you. Because as soon as I stepped into my determination, as soon as I started honoring my hot thirst, my health issues started to clean up. And lately I've been running into some more, and part of that is because I haven't been following my primary health system. And so I've found a bit more health issues show up. And they keep guiding me back into trusting my own inner authority, trusting my body to know what's right for it. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you'd like to learn more about this, feel free to sign up down below on a private consultation, whether that be for yourself, whether that be for your children, whether it simply be you want to talk with me about these mechanics. I am open to talk about human design, and I'd love to meet you. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. Take care. Bye for now.
If you have enjoyed the show and would like to learn more about how all of this applies specifically to you, then kindly refer to the link in this video's description, Private Consultation. Here, we can dive into all of the details together in a recorded call. May your signature vibration of satisfaction, success, peace, and surprise find you in a good way.